Hey everybody, welcome to our channel. Here we are, we're going to discuss the top 75 NBA players, one for each year that the NBA has been in existence. Josh and I love to have debates. Hopefully these won't be too heated. We're going to start with players matched up against one another just to decide their greatness, not who would win in a one-on-one battle. And we're going to rank all those players from number 1 to number 75. Some might get kicked off, but we'll start with this one. So today we have 3 matches. The first match, we'll see how we agree with this one, is Dennis Rodman versus Dikembe Mutombo. You go first. What do you think?
Well, see, let me just start off by saying, without giving me any sort of metrics and just saying based on greatness, oh, it's so subjective.
Big
and
time.
I'm super biased for all the picks that you chose today. Well, for the first 2 rounds, I'm super biased. And, you know, stats matter, like you said before we got the video going.
They do. But it's not the only thing that matters.
It's not.
Right.
But Dikembe Mutombo absolutely murders Dennis Rodman statistically. So even if it's a small factor, it's still a big factor.
Yep. However, Rodman murders Dikembe when it comes to championships.
Yeah, it's not even close.
And I don't think he's just a guy on the team. He's not Robert Horry.
No.
He's way more integral than a Robert Horry.
Yeah. So when I was looking at the 2 of them, kind of comparing them, it's like in some ways it almost all levels out.
Yeah.
But it's all situational. Are you building a team around someone? Then you're taking Dikembe. It's easy.
Right.
You don't build a team around Dennis Rodman.
No.
But do you have a team that just needs a little bit of that elbow grease? You're winning championships with Dennis Rodman. You can slot him in. He plays with superstars. He doesn't need the ball. Like those kinds of things, especially in today's NBA, they're undervalued. But
Absolutely.
it got him to 5 championships. At a point, I think we thought he had more because of the San Antonio days.
Yeah. If we look at some stats here, Dennis Rodman is a 2-time All-Star. That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's reputation being played into that. Dikembe is an 8-time All-Star. Rodman's won 2 defensive MVPs. Mutombo's got 4 defensive MVPs. Mutombo made a 2nd All-NBA team. Rodman didn't make any. However,
I have Rodman on 2 All-NBA teams.
Did you? Oh, maybe 3rd team. I only looked at first 2.
Okay.
You're on the 3rd. It all matter. For the defensive teams, though, Rodman made 8 first and 2nd defensive teams, including 7 in the 1st.
Yeah.
Whereas Mutombo made 3 first, 3 second. Mutombo led the league in rebounding twice. Rodman 7 times. Mutombo led the league in blocks 3 times. So it is a really close matchup. And
effectively, even though Rodman dominated the boards, I would consider him a perimeter player. Like he's a wing.
He's maybe a mid-range wing. He's not a 3-point threat, but yeah, mid-range.
He's not a center per se.
No.
And when you think about all the eras of basketball, centers are always favored in defensive ratings, rankings, and whatever.
For sure.
So even though Rodman has him beat on a lot of those categories, I would say Rodman is still superior, even like against the blocks, right? Like Mutombo's coming in with, what do we say, how many blocks? 3-time block champ?
Yeah, 3 times.
It's hard to get a shot up on Rodman, so it's like, okay.
Yeah, his defense is incredible. Okay, so who are you going with overall? Who's the greater player?
Okay, so I'm changing my vote because initially, again, your parameters are really loose. But if we're just saying the word, if we're using the word greatness, and that's it, then it's Dennis Rodman.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I went back and forth, and I agree when it came down to who's the greater NBA player, Rodman. Yeah. All right, I agree. This next one was tough for me too. We're going with Paul Pierce versus Chris Bosh.
Oh man, every non-Boston fan hates Paul Pierce.
I hate Paul Pierce.
One of the other factors I was going to say that I'm trying to bring in, and it's going to work more so for players that we grew up watching and current players, is
For sure.
I love the eye test. I love how your peers talk about you.
Yeah.
Because, Michael Jordan's peers, as the pinnacle example, no one disrespected him. Everyone was like, oh, he's the greatest. Oh, you don't talk to him. Oh, this, oh,
Even
that.
if they didn't like him.
Yeah. Paul Pierce might be on the other end of the spectrum.
For sure.
Just a bit of a poopy pants clown boy.
Yeah, literally. The time he went to the washroom in a stretcher or a wheelchair. Yeah.
So you have Paul Pierce, and he's just not a prototypical basketball player, maybe not the most likable player with his style of game. He doesn't look like an athlete.
No.
But all that being said, he's a finals MVP, and he's a finals MVP for a reason. Like, he was a beast.
Yeah.
And so
he won that finals MVP with Garnett on the team as well.
Yeah, so he played. Yeah, and you would think,
legitimately
okay, Garnett's going to pull a lot of that shine.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so I'll compare them really quick. They both made an all-rookie team, Bosh and Pierce. Bosh has 2 rings versus Paul Pierce has 1, but that finals MVP, I think, maybe jacks him up a bit because Bosh gracefully moved into a non-star position to get those rings.
Yeah.
1 All-NBA for Bosh, 4 All-NBAs for Paul Pierce. I didn't check if it's first, second, or third.
They both got 1 second, and the rest were thirds.
Oh, so Paul Pierce never got a first-team All-NBA?
No, he got 1 second. That was it.
And then 10 All-Stars for Pierce, 11 for Chris Bosh, which I was surprised about, actually.
Me too, yeah.
He got a lot of Raptor All-Star votes with a country voting for him.
Absolutely.
So that's part of it. When I looked into their deeper stats, like lifetime, their averages are so close.
Yeah,
like,
really close.
Both at 19, just a shade above. Total rebounds, Bosh is up, it's 8 to 6, 8.5 to 5.5.
Yep.
Assists, Paul's got 1.5 above him. They're all like close enough, and then given their positions, it makes sense. One's got more boards, one has more assists. The win shares for Paul Pierce go to 150 versus Chris Bosh's 106.
What'd you go with it?
Against every ounce of my Raptor-loving bones, I picked Paul Pierce.
Me too. It was that finals MVP.
Finals MVP, and his win share at 150 is really high.
Yeah, for sure. But it was that finals MVP that pushed him over for me. Bosh is incredible. The way he stepped into his role in Miami is phenomenal. Like, not many players could do that. Going from a number 1 to a number 3. He played his role. And both LeBron and Dwayne Wade both said we couldn't have won the championship without him, which is probably true. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Both agree. Doing well on this.
Yeah.
We'll start easy, I guess. All right, last one.
Okay, so we get to Wes Unseld
and
Bobby Robert Boblian Lanier.
Yep.
I'm sure one of those is his correct name.
I'm pretty sure.
You take the lead on this one.
All right, so, and this is tough because we never saw these guys play.
Yeah.
Right? But when dealing with the top 75, you have to include everyone from the different eras. So that's what we're trying to do is bring in a healthy mix of all the eras. And these guys played in the 70s was really their heyday. So Wes Unseld, though he's lower in the scoring, his average is 11. His rebounds 14, assists 4, to Bob Lanier's 20 points per game, 10 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Now here's where some differences come in. You have Bob Lanier, 8-time All-Star, winning the All-Star Game MVP. Wes Unseld gets 5 All-Stars. Now, this is a little bit misleading too. Wes Unseld won the MVP. He was a first-team All-NBA, and he did that in his rookie year. He was the MVP in his rookie year.
He also got Rookie of the Year that year.
Yeah, well, I would hope so.
I did not know that his MVP was the same year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so, and the other thing is, Bob Lanier, because I had to look up a little bit more about these guys because we didn't see them play. So Bob Lanier was on terrible teams. He had, I read in his first 10 years, 7 different coaches.
Oh,
It was
terrible.
yeah, terrible situation. Phenomenal player, had terrible knee issues. They didn't have a lot of good rehab back then. They forced him to play essentially. Wes Unseld, he was one of the guys that are like the Dennis Rodmans, where they're the tough guys. They go after all the loose rebounds, loose balls. They're the bullies. They set the picks that are like brick walls. So he won a championship, and he was given the Finals MVP. But he was not probably the best player on that team. A lot of people say that MVP was a culmination of 10 years work with Washington. So I think he only averaged like 7 points a game and had like, good rebounds, probably 10 rebounds. But it's a little misleading. However, he did.
Like Andre Iguodala getting Finals MVP and Steph doesn't have one.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. That'll come up later when we talk about Steph. So, Wes Unseld, he did win the championship. He brought them to the finals, I think 4 times before winning. So he's got that going on. Bob Lanier, crappy teams, average for his entire career 2010. What did you find out about these guys?
So, again, like for all of this, I only did just a shallow dive on Basketball Reference just to catch an idea of them. I know both of their names equally, and I also don't know both of their names equally, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Roughly the same amount of games played. It's just weird looking at it because Bob Lanier's numbers are so much better than Wes Unseld's.
Yep.
But Wes Unseld's accolades dwarf Bob Lanier's like crazy. Yep. So it's interesting that you say you dug into the championship a little bit and saw that, it's a bit of a accumulation of things. Their player efficiency ratings, Lanier dominates him. Lanier's player efficiency, his PER is 21.7 versus Wes Unseld's 16. And then the win shares are close. It's 117 to 110.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially Bob Lanier's on a crappy team. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough call between these two as well.
Especially not of seeing them played, like.
For sure.
It's hard because we could be looking at like Russell Westbrook versus Kyle Lowry right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Westbrook
it is tough.
Going to dominate on all those accolades, but I'm not putting Westbrook over Lowry, which may irk some people out there. But
we'll get there later too. All right.
In the end, I went and picked Wes Unseld.
Me too.
Yeah, here we go. We're on the same page. I'm not super comfortable with that pick. So
no, me either.
I hope people challenge us and like comment on who they think is the winner between these two because there's going to be people out there who know so much more than us about these players.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm curious to see what they say.
All right, what were your final rankings? All 6 of these guys. Let's go worst to best of those 6, because we're going to rank all these guys in 75. We're going to put them all in order.
Damn. Okay, so I'm doing this on the spot right now because like I said, I was only doing them head to head.
Yep.
But we can do them on the spot. So I guess it's safe to. Am I going to put a loser of the head to head above a winner of another head to head?
I did.
You did.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough though, and it's mine turned out really weird. But go ahead. Who do you got worst? Who's on your bottom?
I'm going to say Bob Lanier.
Okay.
I'm going to say Bosh. Unseld. Mutombo. Is Dennis Rodman better than Paul Pierce? I'm doing it. Pierce is next, and then Rodman's at the top. Someone's going to hate on me for that. But
all right.
Listen, I owned the original and only pair of Rodmans that I think ever existed, so he's in my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And he played for the Brighton Bears, where my dad was born, in England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was his last year playing. All right. I have on the bottom, looking at it, you're like, should he go there? but I put Bob Lanier at the bottom. You know, a 20-10 guy, though. It's tough to put him at the bottom.
Especially back then. Well, no, they had high.
Yeah.
Rates of play or whatever, high pace, but still.
So Bob Lanier. Who was your next one?
Bosh.
Mine's Bosh. Yep. Next for me is Paul Pierce.
Okay.
And it's probably a little biased that I just don't like him. Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
So next up is Mutombo.
Okay.
And then Unseld. And then Rodman.
You put Rodman in the top two? That's amazing.
Yeah, I think, man, I don't know. Maybe it's watching The Last Dance also. You know, just get a feeling of how important he was to that team. And, like, even though we watched them play, you know, and watching the Detroit, the Bad Boys documentaries, like, just reliving that. Yeah, man, he's awesome. Super, I say underrated because of his persona. I think his personality.
There's some image issues out there, some behavioral issues for sure.
Big time.
But his impact on the game when he was on the court, that's why people dealt with him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're pretty close. You just slid. We just switched Pierce and Unseld.
Oh, is that it?
Otherwise, it's the exact same list. Yeah.
Nice. Sweet. All right, so we'll come up with maybe 3 more matchups for next time. Make sure you join us. And then what we're going to do is take those 6 and the 6 from today and have them all in order, 1 to 12.
I'm going to have a big document by the end of this.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's going to be number 1? Who's going to be number 2? All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next one.